Welcome back, everybody, to Bears Talk today. We're live on YouTube, on ACTV, and man, what was that? What happened?
As in Spanish, the word for trash is basura.
That's how bad our season's going. Is that we're coming up with different ways to call the Bears garbage?
Oh man, there's like 1,000 different languages out there. So I mean,
yeah. No, it. Yesterday was not fun. Yesterday was not fun. And I think, we could talk about the game, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Hail Mary, right? The Bears lost on a Hail Mary. They took the lead in the fourth quarter, and then they let the Commanders go about, 80 yards in 15, 20 seconds. Mm-hmm. I think that I want to just talk about this Hail Mary because it wasn't some fluky, lucky play. It didn't represent, a 1 in 100, slot machine or something. It was not luck. This was a lack of execution, and it was a lack of coaching on the behalf of the Chicago Bears. Yeah. First of all, you let Terry McLaurin, the play before, get the easiest 15-yard completion of his life. Now, Matt Eberflus said after the game that play, they weren't concerned about it and it didn't really matter. And to me, that's maybe even more concerning than the fact that they lost because that play is what allowed the Commanders the distance to be able to get off a Hail Mary to potentially win the game, right? Yep. We know Jane Daniels has a strong arm. We know that his ribs are hurt and everything. They would not have gotten the ball in the end zone if not for those free 15 yards that the Bears conceded the play before. So that's number one. You see the play, the guys, the DBs, they seem lost. It seems like there's a lack of communication. It was mayhem. They get the 15 yards, right? Then on the Hail Mary, you have a play in which the Bears rush 3 people. Mm-hmm. The Commanders double team every pass rusher. So your 3 defenders are basically null because A, they're not going to get through a double team, and B, those big boys are not catching up to Jane Daniels. They've been working their butts off all game. They're tired. Jane Daniels is one of the fastest quarterbacks. They're not catching Jane Daniels, right? You have TJ Edwards in a quarterback spy. What does that do on a Hail Mary situation? It's not like he's going to run for 60 yards. Okay. Then the most egregious part of this play is that you have Tyreek Stevenson, talking to the fans, talking smack, waving, saying probably nah, doing that, right? He thinks the game's won. He's got his back turned to the play. Jane Daniels is scrambling around buying time. Then, in a panic, runs over to the scrum, tips the ball in the air, which is caught by Noah Brown. And I also want to point out the scrum because, again, Hail Marys are not coincidental. They are schemed, right? During a Hail Mary, yes, you have your scrum of players, and all the players are taught offensively to run to one spot in the field. But also, there are 2 players that are designated to be in front of the scrum and behind the scrum. In case the ball is tipped, that player can then catch it and score a touchdown. The Bears did a good job of protecting the front man, which was Terry McLaurin. He was in front of the scrum. He was about 5 yards ahead of the end zone. If Terry McLaurin, or if the ball would have bounced that way, Terry McLaurin would have had a chance to catch it. But Jalen Johns was right there to bring him down or to tip the ball. But the most important part of this defense is to have a man in the back, backside to protect against a ricochet like that. And I have no idea why the Bears left Noah Brown totally unaccompanied. And it tipped up perfectly. Again, when you're in a Hail Mary defense, you're taught to swat. Not tip. You don't want to play volleyball. You don't want to tip it up in the air. That makes it easier for a offensive player to catch the football. You are taught to 2 hands swat it down. And I understand that it's really hard to get at the top of that pile. But what Tyreek Stevenson did is he stuck his hand straight up, it bounced forward, and it landed right into the hands of Noah Brown. So just an absolute coaching disaster class on the behalf of the Chicago Bears. The Commanders, on the other hand, were ready for that situation. Now, again, you still need some things to go your way. It was a bad bounce of the ball, absolutely. But the Commanders were way more prepared for that situation than the Bears were. And that is, I think, one of the big stories of this game is how poor the Bears' coaching was. And, of course, it culminated with a Hail Mary, the Commanders absolutely breaking the hearts of the Chicago Bears. And, truthfully, Justin, while the Bears did take the lead late in that game, by and large, the Commanders deserved to win that game. The Bears were about to steal a game away from the Commanders in Washington, which is something that all good teams do. I mean, look at how many weeks we say how the heck did the Chiefs win that game?
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes threw 3 interceptions. They don't have a receiver, but they win those games.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to steal a game that you don't play your best in. The Bears were about 5 seconds away from doing that, and they blew it. And this is the most Chicago Bears loss I've ever seen in my life. I could not believe my eyes.
No, I mean, I'm right there with you. I just felt like on that last play of the game, they just gave up. It didn't feel like – I felt like the Bears in their mind were just like, the
game was over for them.
Yeah, the game was over, and it clearly was not. I mean, Jaden Daniels had about 7 years to throw the ball, and I'm just like – it was just sad to see, and you listed a lot of great points. I think definitely like looking at that, I'm just like, what happened? I mean, we didn't score until the third quarter. Like, we went from having a streak of winning games, of scoring, killing teams, to not even scoring at all against the Commanders out of all teams. It just is. It's very painful to see. And one thing that I do want to list, I mean, they're technically, if you want to count the London game, because they were they home? Were they
technically they were the home team? Yes.
Yeah, but if you're so technically they're 1-3, but technically it's 0-3. They haven't won a road game this year, and that's been our consistent issue, is that we play good at home, but on the road we struggle. And if we're even going to have a chance to be in these playoffs, hopefully we need to steal some games on the road. Point blank and simple.
No, absolutely. I think that's a great point. You have to steal some games on the road. And listen, full credit to the Commanders fans. That environment was ruckus.
Yeah, you made us eat our words last week. So
yeah. Shout out Commanders fans. Honestly, I was not familiar with your game, and I apologize for that. Right, Commanders fans, that environment, you could tell just from watching the game. That environment was nuts.
Yeah.
But you mentioned like we didn't score for the third quarter, and what's even more concerning for me is that we're coming off a bye. Right.
Yes.
That was plenty of time to kind of get your game script ready, get your dial up some good plays, create some opportunities. The Bears in the first, I would say 70% of the game, looked like they had no idea how to run an NFL offense. The play calling was atrocious. The offensive line was atrocious, and there were no, ways to compensate for that. Caleb did look out of sync, and he looked inaccurate and everything like that. The whole entire offense was just off for 70% of this game. Now, I think as the game went on, Caleb found his footing, and I do give him credit because he was good in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
and that's when we needed him the most.
That's when it counts.
Right?
Yep.
But the coaching did not get much better. Again, it's insane that this is the second worst play of that game yesterday, but they gave the ball to a backup center at the goal line.
Yeah.
In a one-score game in the fourth quarter on the road. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Doug Kramer, I'm not even mad at Doug Kramer because I think that was such coaching malpractice that they deserve to fumble the football there.
They did.
If you even think about giving the ball to a backup offensive lineman in that situation, again, this isn't the 85 Bears, all right?
No.
This isn't William Perry. We're not winning the Super Bowl by 20 points. We can't just mess around and do whatever we want. We're not the Lions, okay? That was a tight game. You do not chance it like that.
No.
And just to add insult to injury, of course, the fumble was recovered by Jerzon Newton, who went to the University of Illinois. So shout out him. But that play call, I think, just encapsulates so much of what Shane Waldron has been for the Bears. He thinks he's way smarter than he actually is.
Yep.
Like with all of his little tricks, and remember he ran the speed option on 4th and goal a while ago. Like he outsmarts himself. There's nothing even that the Commanders did necessarily on that play that was schematically masterful. They just picked up a football that was fumbled on the ground by a backup offensive lineman.
Right.
The Bears should have never, ever, ever been in that spot. They should have never done that. And the next drive, they just gave it to Roschon Johnson, who has been an excellent goal line running back this year. Why would you chance it? The risk reward there is so out of balance. Yeah. And again, you're lucky that our defense for 99% of this game was absolutely lights out because they got you the ball right back. The Commanders went 3 and out after that. And then the offense actually was able to go down the field and score. But I want to mention something else, Justin, and people aren't going to talk about this because the end result was good. They ran back-to-back quarterback design runs for Caleb Williams. What are we doing?
Not a rusher.
What are we doing? We're running quarterback power to the left side with a backup left tackle that had struggled mightily the whole game.
Yeah,
I did not understand that play call at all. Now, the next play, they had the route to Keenan Allen, which was the pass interference. Giving Keenan Allen a shot in the end zone, I did like. Obviously, the Bears didn't fumble their second opportunity at the goal line. They gave it to Roschon Johnson for the touchdown.
Yeah.
But just the coaching was so horrendous for the Bears. It was shockingly horrendous. And again, our defense did such a great job for the vast majority of this game that it actually didn't matter. Once DeAndre Swift in the third quarter got that long rush off, you felt the Bears had some magic. Yep. I don't know about you, Justin, but I'm sitting there in the second and third quarter. It's 9-0. It felt like 20-0.
It did, yeah.
It felt like 20-0. The Commanders were moving the ball, but they weren't scoring touchdowns, and the Bears just couldn't do anything. They get it to 12-0. DeAndre Swift breaks that long rush, which shout out DeAndre Swift, had a really good game. I know that's your guy. But
my guy.
The Bears offense, like, you just feel like Shane Waldron is holding this team back so much. And I've been critical of Waldron, and it's fun to make fun of him. I get it, and it's easy to blame the offensive coordinator on a loss. But this is the exact reason why I make fun of him.
Yeah.
Because he directly sabotages the Bears. Like, 90% of the time when you're at the 1 yard line, you just give it to your running back and score a touchdown. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right?
Yeah.
And then we ended up losing by what, 3 we lost by?
Yep. Felt like 20, but
it felt like more. But we ended up losing by 3 when we could have easily had that last touchdown. So it was just very disappointing. I know I've been yapping.
You're good.
I'll let you get a breath.
I mean, no, you're fine. I mean, you listed some very great points. And also as well, like when I look at this game, I just felt like we were just – it reminded me of the first couple of games of the season where we were trying to figure things out. We couldn't score a touchdown. Our defense was really winning us games. But in this instance, it felt like nothing was working on both sides of the ball. And I made a good point in our bye week episode that this was one of the kind of cons of having a bye week, right? When you are winning, you create momentum for your team, and when you stop winning, and you stop creating momentum, and you lose it, right? It becomes like, wait a minute, like I forgot what we've been doing to make us win all this time.
Yeah.
So it's definitely tough because like I'm thinking we're gonna pick up right where we left back off, and we didn't, right?
Yeah.
So
they definitely look rusty.
Yeah, they look rusty,
they look
man.
So rusty.
I mean, I get that we have bye weeks and stuff like that, but like I felt like there should have been, I don't know, mandatory. I don't know. I don't know how they practice, but they should have had like
mandatory 2 days every day of the bye week. No,
or something like. Yeah. This is one of those games that I felt like we should have won, and we let it slip away. Even when we got the lead in the fourth quarter, I'm like, okay, you just gotta hold them.
For 20 seconds.
For 20 seconds. That's all I need. Gosh. Like, it just made it even worse because we actually came back and had a lead in that game. I could see if we just got shut out and we were just, oh, man, for 4 quarters we were just trash. But, like, it pains me even more because this team has the potential to be good. They were down, like, what, 15, 12 points for most of the – yeah.
It was 12-0, but it was like – red zone stop, red zone stop, red zone stop. It was like the Commanders had way more yards.
Yeah.
They were driving down the field, and our defense was just bending but not breaking.
Yeah.
So it really, you're right. It felt like it was like 20-0, but it was 12-0.
It was a reachable game. Yeah. Like and the fact that we, one of the, I guess, lone bright spots is we can win football games. Like we've come back from leads. We can do it. But that fourth quarter and the last couple of plays really screwed us over. So we can kind of jump to our question now.
I also want to.
You can,
I want to give credit to Caleb before we jump.
Sure,
because for 3 quarters in this game, Caleb did not play well.
No, he didn't.
He was, I think, 4 of 13 for 33 yards, like late in the third quarter. Was not having a good game.
Right.
The fourth quarter came around, and like I said, a ruckus environment in a. Not must-win game, but you very much want to win this game.
Yeah.
Situation.
Yep.
On the road, down 2 touchdowns, and he started clicking. Like he was making some phenomenal plays all night. In fact, I'll give him credit for creating with his legs.
Yeah.
I mean, that offensive line for the Bears was getting beat up left and right. Commanders do have some dogs on their D-line. Don't get me wrong, but he was making stuff happen with his legs. He was extending plays. And late in the game, I mean, that play that throw he made to DJ Moore on the sideline, I thought was chef's kiss beautiful.
Yeah.
Like getting absolutely cracked, putting it in a window. I believe that was cover 2. He put it right before the safety. Absolute chef's kiss. And we need a guy that's going to be a dog in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like we need a guy who can go out and win us game. And Caleb did his job in that department.
Yeah.
Caleb did his job. So Not his best game.
No.
Definitely took a step down from what he had been the last 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
But I am encouraged by the fact that he was good in the fourth quarter and that he was, a winner in a winning situation.